If you are looking to bring home a little extra money, you might be looking for a side hustle or a side gig, and you guessed it, there is an app that can help you with that. Rich Brooks is our tech guy. He's from Flyte New Media in Portland. Thanks so much for being in here today.
Always a pleasure.
Recent data, I think, shows that 1 in 3 Americans have a side hustle at this point. That number is growing. So what are we talking about when we're talking about these gig apps?
Yeah, so we're talking about apps that connect people who are looking for a little extra money or a side hustle with the people who are looking for different types of services. So there's like 3 main categories. One might be considered the freelancer app. So if you're a freelancer, you're a handyman or woman, you can find people who are looking for those kind of services.
Right.
And then you've got the on-demand apps. So these are the apps where the app is actually the company and you're working for them. And then the third category is platform-based apps that are like a middleman, and so basically they connect people and then they take a finder's fee.
Okay, all right, so I'm sure people's interest is already peaked. So what are some popular examples of these gig apps?
Yeah, because a lot of them we may know. So TaskRabbit is a good example of that freelancer type app. So if you are a handy person or you like walking dogs or things like that, you know, you can go to this app and kind of put yourself in, create a profile, or if you're looking for those kind of services, same thing, and the app will make a connection. A good example of the on-demand app is like Lyft, Uber, or DoorDash. You know, those kind of services where you're working for that company, but you choose your own hours. And then the last type, many of us have used Airbnb in the past. So that's a good example of those platform-based apps where Airbnb acts as the middleman between the people who are looking for a place to stay and the people who have extra space.
Yeah, so you mentioned some apps that we're kind of all familiar with. What are some of those that are more interesting out there that people might not be familiar with?
Yeah, so as I started to do this deep dive into it, I found some interesting ones. One of the ones that I found was something called Product Tube. So let's say that, you know, inflation has started to take a little bit of a bite into your grocery shopping or your retail shopping. This app actually allows you to record videos of you buying everyday products and you like reacting to them. That's being paid for by manufacturers looking to get market research.
Okay.
So another one is Doctors on Demand. So Doctors on Demand, we talked about teletherapy in a previous interview. So this allows you to immediately connect with a physician or a psychiatrist or a psychologist via the app through FaceTime. But what's interesting is it also just, if you're a doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, and you're looking for a little bit of extra money, maybe to pay down those huge medical school bills. You can just sign up for this service, and if you have some openings in your calendar, this is a good way to make a little extra money. And then like I said, we're talking about Airbnb. Well, Airbnb for your car. An app called Get Around. So if you find, oh, well, I'm not driving to the office anymore, or I've got a kid who just left for college, they're freshmen, they can't use their car, you can make a little extra money by renting out your car through the app.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, and these are 3 examples, but there's a lot of competing products out there. So what I would recommend is do your due diligence, take a look, and the other thing is living in Maine that has a smaller population, smaller density in places, make sure there are other people around who are using the app because otherwise these apps aren't very functional.
Yeah, well, and of course no one's going to complain about having a little extra cash in their pockets, but there's definitely been some pushback against this kind of gig economy. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, obviously there are some benefits, things like, you know, autonomy and flexibility, a little extra cash, but you're never going to get any career advancement with these apps. You're never going to get any kind of real benefits. And a lot of these apps have been sued because of the way they treat their workers. They call them gig workers, but you know, sometimes they might actually be full-fledged employees. So I think it's a matter of buyer, or maybe in this case, worker beware. And I would just say these are great apps if you're looking to store up a little extra spending money, or if you got an expense coming up, you got a little extra bandwidth, but it's not a career path for most of us, and that's, you really have to look at it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great information, great apps. Again, some I haven't even heard of before, but they do some really, really cool things. Rich
That's
Brooks.
why I'm here.
Exactly. Thanks so much for stopping by again. Always great to see you. And if you're interested in learning more about these apps for yourself, just head to the 207 section of our website or our app. We'll have the list for you there as well. Stay with us. 207 is back right after this.